Thanks for checking out our video today. Today I'll be upgrading the mechanical cable-driven throttle assembly on the AdmitJet Armor to an electric Sur Ron style ride-by-wire throttle system. It's a pretty simple upgrade, but by the time I break it down step by step, we're looking at about 27 minutes or so. I hope you enjoy the video. Hope it's useful to you. If you want to know a little more about the bike in general, then you'll accomplish a little bit of that from the video, but I also plan on a full, very comprehensive review incoming within the next few weeks, hopefully, if all things go well. And by the way, if you missed it, please check out our near 30-minute review of the RAWRR Mantis, which posted about a couple weeks ago from the time this video posted. And hope you find this video helpful and that it helps you learn more about the AdmitJet Armor and also about a helpful upgrade if you decide to purchase the bike. Like and subscribe, and we'll be bringing more content in the future. Hey guys, welcome back to Electro Bikes US. You may have already figured out today I'm going to be doing a video about the AdmitJet Armor. It's not the video I wanted to do, that's for sure, because I plan on doing a full review before doing this one. But what I will be doing today is what I think will end up being an upgrade for this bike. This is mostly stock. The only thing I've added so far are the Pro Taper pillow top grips, which were definitely an upgrade. I highly suggest those over the stock 1/3 waffle type grips. And other than that, let's try to get into it. I'll show you what I'm starting with here shortly on the upgrade. Is going to be a throttle upgrade, and that's from the mechanical cable throttle to the electric ride-by-wire throttle, which should definitely be an upgrade that should smooth out the performance of the bike. So thanks for joining me, and hope you find this helpful and enjoyable. All right, so here's the throttle I ordered. This is basically, I'll try not to drop it. This is basically a generic Sur Ron light BX throttle. The barrel's plastic, which I'm not thrilled about, but if it's back behind a metal handlebar, it shouldn't matter too much. It's got a nice smooth action, good spring pull and release, and it's got the typical triangular 3-prong adapter, which these are female connectors, if you can see right there. That should line up perfectly with the male plugs on the bike itself, which I'll show you in a second. And this ran, I think, around $40 before tax, right at 40 or 42. I'll put the link in the description if you're interested in getting the same one. This is a metal body, unfortunately plastic barrel collar right in here is plastic as well. Cable's okay. You see there's a little on the housing that goes in there. There's definitely an opening for moisture. I don't know how sealed it is in here. I may find out through this process of installing it. I thought about putting a bead of silicone in there and letting it set up. I'll see if there's a problem with it. If there is, that's definitely something I will probably follow back up and do. If you're entirely new to this bike model on the AdmitJet Armor, it's definitely similar to the KTM Freeride on how you get under the hood, so to speak. Just pull these off. They have some pins right there on each side. A little bit hard doing it from the... Got a release here for the back seat. So if it is locked, it holds really well, but there's a release button right here on the left side, and it's right here. You have to pull it, till you feel it click, and then it just raises on up. And then the bike hood, so to speak, or the seat and everything with it, raises up. And now we have the access to the battery, and also a little storage compartment that comes with some spare parts up under here. I will be doing a full review on this bike, which will probably be more than anybody would ever want to know about it at some point in the near future. I left the recharge cap off under here, which actually threads back on, so I'm just going to put that right back on there. And we're going to get under here and see what is involved in upgrading this throttle from mechanical to ride-by-wire. When you get up under the dash here, you see I've already did something I probably shouldn't have done before, since I'm kind of show you what to do. But you got the battery. This is the BMS connector for the battery. So unhook the battery connector from the bike. Also, not sure where the BMS ran off to, but essentially, it's falling down here, so just make sure it's off as well. It color matches. There's no denying where that goes. This is actually what we're replacing. This is the electric male connector for the throttle, and this is what I undid from the throttle box. It matches the new throttle, and we'll replace that. Taking a closer look at what we're actually going to be taking out for the mechanical part, this connector here connects from the throttle box, the mechanical pulley box where the cable's fed in right here. Try to get a better view. Now you can see that we're going to be removing this whole cable box that feeds from the cable mechanical throttle. And that actually, if you come over on the outside, is held on by these two screws, which are normally hidden by the shroud. So I'm gonna lose those screws and take that box out once I take it off, because we don't need the cable activated throttle, which is this guy. Which, I'll be honest, as far as the barrel quality and everything of this throttle, I'd say it's better than the Sur Ron one, because it actually is metal, and although it does have, this throttle actually has a little bit of a gritty feel to it. I think the response is a little delayed since it is mechanical and it's coming down and pulling right there into that control box, which sends the electric signal into the bike's controller and starts giving it the juice, if you will. So lose all this. I think when they were making this, they felt that the mechanical throttle was probably an upgrade. I really don't think so. Most new modern motorcycles, including my street bike, is ride-by-wire, and in my opinion, it'll be better not to have a cable. So we'll find out the hard way if I'm wrong. Coming back over here, I'm just going to use 2 small Allen heads to loosen this up. Probably before I get it off, I'll roll this grip off. I may go ahead and just do that now. It'll just come off like that. You may not be so fortunate, but I had used hairspray. So this is actually got a metal barrel on it, which I would say that the quality of this build is better, that it comes with stock than what I'm putting on, because it doesn't have a plastic barrel. But you can actually unscrew this, it will come off and remove itself. But for some reason right now it's not doing that like it was. Maybe I've finally gotten it tight enough to where it doesn't do that. But I'll be taking this off, removing it very shortly. Not too bad, not too bad. Don't have to take them all the way off, so that's coming off pretty nicely. Probably have to go ahead and undo the cable on the other end before I'll get enough slack to actually pull that off the bar. So the next step I'm gonna make, and I'm not sure is the right step, I'm gonna remove these 2 screws. And the reason why is I'm gonna go ahead and try to loosen this box to give me enough room to take the rest of this off of the handlebars. Once those have been removed, you're left with 2 open holes, but not to worry about that. Those are concealed by the shroud when the bike's put back together. So I wouldn't even worry about filling them back in. It did release the box, the cable activated control box that signals to the bike the amount of throttle that's being pulled mechanically. So we're kind of taking out the middleman, if you will, and going direct ride-by-wire. To me, that's got to be a better upgrade than this system, but teach their own. Now another fun part, can I make this look easy letting the cable out? So here's what I'm gonna do if my big hands don't conceal it. I'm gonna pull it back and loosen it, boom, easy pop, and undo that, just like that, very much like a bicycle cable. And now this is free. You get a good picture of that, so that's what we're losing for the moment. Won't need it again with a little bit of luck. So that was just an extra part to add a little weight and complication. There's a little bit of a challenge right here with the cables because they're fed through and tucked up under over here. So I'm feeding it back through where there's a clamp. Let me take the camera off real quick. So it's fed under this. I don't think I'm gonna have to remove those bolts to get it out. I think I can just, hopefully without, that's the wrong one, but without pulling out any electronics, I should be able to pull it right there. Yeah, it's wanting to, sorry about the shoddy camera work there, but I was kind of looking at what I was doing and not the monitor. So yeah, just more gently than probably what I did, feed it back through there. You won't have too much complications because it comes back right through here, and you can, so about 2 pulls and you're free. You'll be free. You can just slide that right off. So I've got the new throttle. I'm gonna loosen up the Allen heads. Try to slide it on. Now, coming from a motorcycle background, gosh, over 30 something years, most all the time bicycles as well, the cable or wire outing is facing forward on the handlebars, not towards the rider. So that tells me that in this case, to line this up the way I think it should be, these Allen heads are going to be pointing towards the ground because this should be forward facing if it's made like pretty much most throttle and controls and brakes have, unless they have some control buttons, they're not normally facing back. And in fact, in this case, I don't think there's much of a choice because it's going to get in the way of these controls if I went the other way around. So I tried this both ways on if the screw should be facing up towards the sky or the ground. I'm finding because of this bike having the horn and also the headlight switch and everything else that it needs to face forward, which means the bolts are going to have to go towards the ground. Now, that's not going to be exactly ideal for everybody on how you might expect it to line up, but I would run it something like this. Seems to be the best fit out of every configuration I have tried. This would be kind of parallel with the Sky. So I'm going to tighten these up and get this fixed, and then I'll be right back. Real quick little pro tip or side note that I just observed with this. This doesn't fit flush to the end. There's a good 1/2 inch of overhang with the plastic barrel from where the handlebar left off. Here's the problem with this bike. You say, well, just scoot this in, but not so fast, because these controls actually have a tab that line up with a hole for these factory handlebars. If you change the handlebars, then I would imagine you could just grind down the tab on the bike control panel, and that's on both sides to help line up and find where they're supposed to be placed. But in this change out here, you probably just got to do a little overhang. But if you do crash, seeing as that's a plastic tube over there and it takes a hard impact, it's certainly going to break. That might be an argument to upgrade the handlebars. I think the handlebars work okay, but there's certainly probably better bars out there. Just something I observed, you're kind of stuck with this configuration unless you're going to move things further in and do away with the tabs, the alignment tabs for your bike control. That is a choice you're going to be faced with if you're going to do this upgrade with probably any Sur Ron style electric throttle. Now that it's mounted pretty good, I'm just going to retrace the same path that the cable had earlier, the cable throttle. It was roughly going through right here. Now, I have to admit, of course, this wire is more fragile than the cable housing. I'm not a huge fan of actually the way I have that ran over the brake master cylinder, but I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. I went under instead. I think that'll be acceptable. You can always use some black zip ties to secure this against some of this other wire harness. That's an idea if you don't want it to get tangled out on the trail too much, because if that does get tangled and snapped, you're gonna be stranded, which that would be the case with any bike with any amount of loose cabling. So here I am doing the thing I didn't think I'd have to do, removing the wiring harness holder. I'm just using a torque wrench. This is actually, what size is this? It's a T30, and it's just a screwdriver style, so I can't torque it too much, but surprisingly, the factory bolts aren't that tight, because this is the first time I've ever removed them. I think I'm just going to try to take out one side of it. We'll see what happens. Nope. I'm going to have to take out both to get that behind there. So, just try to keep note that you've got, outside of the throttle cable or wire, you've got two other harnesses, wiring harnesses that are held and organized behind this bracket. Let's see if this one will pop. Oh, it doesn't want to. Let's see if it'll pop loose. Oh yeah, it's tighter. I want it to pop without having to get a ratchet. Yes! Nothing a little American horsepower won't fix. There we go. Oh my God. Well, the camera angle may not be the best, but you can imagine I'm just removing the screw with the housing, so nothing too groundbreaking there. Well, that would have been groundbreaking to drop the camera. Okay, so simply putting that into the mix with the other two wiring harness. This is the wire from the electric throttle. I think I'm going to start back on the bottom there. FYI, there's not any thread lock on these, so that certainly helps, unless you want to put some semi-permanent or medium hold thread lock on there. Let me get that threaded back without cross thread. Another little pro tip about this: don't tighten one down before you get the other one started. It's kind of a seesaw. You'll find it trying to cross thread with you. Okay, so now that I've got it through the holder and back around, this just simply ran behind this inside plastic shroud. You can just kind of pull that into there. Again, at any point, you could take a black plastic zip tie and clip it into this larger wiring harness to help support it that much more, or secure it rather. Now we're back under the hood, but this time I've got the throttle cable. Look at all that slack. That's at least 2 feet, I would say, of extra slack. So plenty of room there. Not as much room on the one coming from the bike. It's pretty much maxed out right here where I'm at with it. So these are pretty straightforward connectors. Everything's Sur Ron style. You could use dielectric grease in there, I guess, to help with moisture keeping it out, but I'm actually not going to right now. And perfect click. These are a little bit exposed, the wires going into it, but probably not going to be tugging and pulling or catching on anything down under there. It's anyone's guess on where you want to refeed the spare wires. I would imagine, I don't know if the controller runs that hot. I haven't checked when I've been really putting in some hard runs on it, but I'm gonna try to put it kind of out of the way of that a little bit, and also clear the BMS cable and the battery cable, so it's kind of just hanging out there. So now all I've got to do is go back and put my grip back on the throttle body, and we'll see how that goes. It might go on a little bit easier than I want. I may come back, a little trick on the grips, by the way, take some cheap hairspray or some good firm hole hairspray, spray a little bit under there. Something I've been doing even since I rode BMX bikes to mountain bikes to motocross bikes. I've had pretty good success with it. There's probably some other products that are more purpose driven, but probably most people could come across some hairspray, either their own or the girlfriends or wives or someone's along the way. All right, I should use some. Another pro tip is using compressed air under there is very helpful. Even a small amount of compressed air can help slide a grip right on up. Or from an air compressor, even better, but I found even this can help. Just makes life a little bit easier. Slid it right on, puts a little air pillow under there. Seems like because of the plastic body with the molding it has, that's actually gonna hold pretty good. The action, mechanical action itself, is infinitely more smooth than that mechanical cable. It feels so much more progressive and just easier and precise. Couple ideas on helping secure this, because in the woods and things, getting it snagged on trail, I put one right up under here that connects to the master cylinder disc brake hydraulic line, actually right here. This one I put on earlier, I don't know, I may leave it since it combines the wire with the other wire and harness with the throttle cable, just that, but it pulls it on up behind the headlight shield, because it was down here. Totally could get snagged easier. It could still get snagged, but I think that might help prevent a good bit of issues if you're in the woods where there's a lot of brush and limbs. I think I want to add one more zip tie under the hood here because of how much slack cabling there actually is. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. I may just, there's another loose wire there, but I may just couple it up to keep it from being so long. It's really got a lot of slack that I don't think I'll need anytime soon. So I'm just gonna crunch it up, bunch it up, and do it like that. Keep it out of the way. Snip off the excess part of the cable there, and that should kind of keep it a little bit nice and neat. There's an opening right in there for things that can get into the bike, but these are supposed to be water resistant enough to resist pressure washing blast, but not full submersion. I wouldn't suggest submersion the bike unless you upgrade the connectors or housings in terms of water proofing or resistance. Now just have to put the cover back down. So I'm going to be testing it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and reconnect the battery, which I won't. Oh, and that always happens. It hits you in the head. There's a little clip here. I'll show more detail in the full review. It's going to take me a while to get that one out, but it's coming. So I will definitely be working on that for the next few weeks or month, hopefully a few weeks rather than a month. But first thing I do is get these back on and flip those back in, and then, of course, you can press down the seat. You'll hear it click a little bit once you know you have it, and you can pull on it and it won't come come back up. This wants to roll around a little bit on the lift I have it on. So I'll go get the keys, we'll turn it on and do the scary part, see if what I did actually worked. Okay, I'm back with the key. It's coming up a storm here, so I won't be able to take it for actual ride. Let's see if she'll fire up. Yes, so far, no weird error codes. Whoa, that's, apparently I had it in third gear. That's about as much of a rev as you get out of this bike. They put like a safety cutoff so you can't just sit there revving the motor to overheat it. You can do a little occasional rev, but then it'll cut it off. But I'll address that again in the review. There's some little tricks to know about this bike, but I bet you we're gonna have some locomotion in the back. That's low speed, so it seems to, work. So I don't have control of the rear brake. I've been riding too many other bikes that have the rear brake up here. This one has a clutch and gear, so mission success as far as I can tell. Of course I'm gonna need to test it, but much better response. Yeah, thanks, hope this helped, and if you do the upgrade again, it's like $50 or less for the throttle. Again, there's a little bit of concern there for the plastic overhang on the barrel, but just don't wreck. The reason why there's overhang on that plastic barrel is longer. This one's just shorter. So there was no overhang and this was a metal barrel. Much better, in my opinion, for the metal, but at any rate, that is about a 1/4 inch longer on that Sur Ron style throttle. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember to check back in the future. We'll be doing a full review on the AdmitJet Armor. I'll be really digging into the pros and cons of the bike. And we'll be going to more than just the farm track where I tested the RAWRR Mantis. I'll be taking it to a motocross track to try to put it through its paces and see how it does in a real competitive situation. Not a race, but definitely getting it on track to see how it holds its own against some of the gas driven bikes. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with some of the analysis and feedback we'll have on the upcoming videos. So thanks, like and subscribe. See you next time.